Welcome to the 5. Today is August 3rd, and here are the 5 things you need to know about today. 70% of the U.S. is now vaccinated. Tyson Foods, including many of the companies, are going to start requiring vaccines for their employees. Super Bowl pay-per-view. Jeff Bezos loses a mere $14 billion. And Reese Witherspoon's a $900 million payday. Joining me today on my right, as always, is Ben. Let's get started. The first of the items on lots of news sources today, at least 70% of U.S. adults have received at least one vaccination dose. We talk about the vaccine nearly every single day. It's relevant today because it's a good number, and there's been an increase in the last few weeks. For 3 months, the vaccine rate every day was falling, but in the past 2 weeks, it's risen by 30%. I think people are realizing that it's getting harder for their lives and the risk, and with the Delta variant going around, so more vaccinations have been having an uptick in the rolling averages. Good news.
Yeah, that is good news. I mean, that's good. Maybe it's just that more and more people are getting vaccinated. That means more people are they're seeing that it's turning out okay for the majority of the people, and now they actually feel safer in doing so because there's more data than there was back in March or whenever when it first started. So I think people are just more comfortable, and now they're not as scared to go get the vaccine and stuff like that. And I just feel like it just makes life easier, and they're realizing that now that they don't have to, they can go places and not have to worry as much and stuff like that. And and especially I think it helps though that a lot of employers are requiring it now.
I see, and I think it's more that I think it's becoming more mandated, more of a hassle to not have it.
Yeah.
I personally am not sure anyone that doesn't want to get it wants to get it.
Yeah.
I think people are realizing like this might be just how it has to be.
Yeah.
Because the second story, Tyson Foods, who has about 120,000 in its U.S. workforce, is one of the latest companies to mandate that they all get a vaccine. About half have gotten it now, and they said they're going to offer a $200 bonus for everyone that gets it. Yeah. So not only get your free vaccine, but also get your bonus. And I think that's going to be it, because last week it was announced Google and Facebook and now Tyson, all these, I think, bigger companies. I think that's going to be what turns the tide on some of this stuff.
Wasn't Tyson Foods one of the companies last year that had like a big breakout, like a huge breakout?
It has it in here, but you're right.
So that really makes sense that they're actually getting, they're trying to be proactive and preventing that again, because that put them behind.
Yeah, they were saying meatpacking workers in spring 2020 were some of the hardest hit, with tens of thousands of plant workers infected and more than 130 deaths, according to labor union stuff for meatpackers.
Yeah, it sounds like the CEO or whoever's in charge of Tyson Foods, it sounds like they're a smart person. They're smart.
Well, and I wonder, as a business person, I wonder what side this decision comes from, because there's one of maybe you can save some lives. Yeah. Great. But also, if you can avoid your workforce from being out for weeks, you can also help your company. So quick math, I can't do it in my head, but $200, 120,000, that's $800,000, less than $1 million for a big company to keep productivity running smoothly is the right decision from a money standpoint, as well as the right decision to try to save some lives.
Yeah, I think of all of those things is a good reason for them to require vaccines. And I think a lot of businesses are running ahead that way. I mean, there's not too many negative things about the vaccine so far that you can say that there's a reason to not get it, except you're just not eligible yet, you're just not old enough. But other than that, there's not too many good. There's not any good reasons to not get it. And then if one, you can prevent work stoppage, you can prevent having to pay employees to stay at home for a week. No employer wants to do that.
Yeah. And so that I think about too, because a lot of people that are anti-vaccine, a lot of them are also like free market, not telling us what to do. So I wonder how a lot of them feel, because I am kind of a free market person myself, and it brings me happiness to feel like there is businesses and the market kind of leading the way versus just mandating from a government standpoint, is like, this is your job, it's going to be required. And kind of businesses in some way kind of helping solve the issues. So I wonder where people that are anti being told what to do but pro free market big business, I wonder
Yeah.
where they fall
I
on
just
that.
feel like that just comes with having a job. If you have a boss, you're going to be told what to do. Unfortunately, that's just the real world, and I don't know. Like, I just don't know what reality people think they're in.
Yeah.
But that if you have a boss, and they tell you to do something, you got to do it. If not, you're probably not going to have that job. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
That's how it's always going to be. So I mean, you can say that with a lot of things, with dress codes, with any kind of policy, whether if it's they're allowed to have phones at work. I mean, there are some companies that don't even let employees have their phones on them.
Yeah.
You know, so there's just so many things. So if they can say, like, because to work for someone, then again, is not a right. It's not your right to go be an employee for Amazon or for Tyson Food. It's a privilege.
It's a privilege.
And if they want to hire you, they will. If they tell you to abide by the rules, you have to do it. You know, do you think you're replaceable? Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You're very replaceable. So, I mean, so it's either do what you're supposed to do or go without a job. If you don't want to do what you're supposed to do, then go start your own business.
Speaking of businesses and caring about money, the NFL loves to care about money. So the third on our list today, there's many talks of Super Bowl going to pay-per-view. So this was former ESPN president who said that Super Bowl should really go to pay-per-view to replace money that isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
So is it likely? No. But the economics are interesting because he was saying they might charge $200 per household to watch that. A lot of money for most people. So typically, just to give context to this, so Super Bowl, most watched TV program of the year, averaging over 100 million viewers. A lot. So because you look at like these other sporting events, was it the Mayweather Pacquiao fight, which had $600 million in revenue in 2015. And your thoughts, Ben, with the NFL and possible pay-per-view for that?
Okay. Looking at it from both sides. From a business standpoint, it makes a lot of sense because it's an easy way to make money. But from a fan side, I hate it. I absolutely hate that idea because it's just, I feel like you are just eliminating a big part of what makes these Super Bowls so special. Is the fact that you can watch it with family members who don't care about football, but they'll sit down and watch it with you that one time or watch the commercials. There's like a magical thing about it that makes it so special. Yeah, you can say you like the commercials or you just like the game or whatever, but there's also like the family element too of just getting together and parties and stuff. It's a fun day and everything, and I feel like the NFL, to where they have gotten, they're multi-billion-dollar business for a reason. Like what they've been doing has been working, and they're growing. Like every year, more and more profits every year. I feel like by switching to this, you're not going to be gaining, because every year they're gaining more fans. They're gaining kids that are sitting in the living room watching the games that are on for free. Or the parents can afford, the cable bill or something like that. And they're actually growing a fan base and then buying more merch, wanting families to actually like, oh, okay, we're going to go take one day, we're going to take the family to a game and stuff. Yeah. There's just so much added benefit for them to keep it doing what they're doing. They can make a lot of money now and it makes a lot of sense, but I feel like you're just eliminating a lot of interest into the sport 5, 10, 15 years from now.
As a non-sports fan, I look at sports fans and I feel like you're constantly having all the people that own these teams and the leagues just trying to reach into your wallet more and more, like every single month, all the time. Like it's I think harder and more expensive to watch games than it's ever been. And I don't have any information on ticket prices, but as someone that has gone to a couple Cardinals games, it's expensive to go to games. It's expensive to watch games. It's expensive to be a fan, and it seems like it only goes up. Yeah, it never becomes more affordable to be a fan of any sport.
I think the way they're doing, I think that the NFL's been making all the right decisions thus far. I mean, they've been growing. You can see that they're getting more and more money. I'm pretty sure it is one of the richest NFL sports leagues in the world and stuff like that. I think they're already on track they're already dominant. I feel like that is just overkill. I mean, I could be wrong. There's going to be people that will pay that. There's going to be the diehards, the people that just love their football team or just love to watch football. they're going to pay it. Restaurants, bars, they're going to pay it. But like, let's talk about just the regular families that work paycheck to paycheck. They just want to watch the game, just like the rest of the world does. They're just not going to pay that $200 or whatever they're thinking about charging.
Yeah. It's nuts. And to try to give some context, I suppose if they ever did that, the question would be like, what percentage of people would do it versus what watch it essentially for free or nearly for free now. And so like, say 100 million, it's some basic math here. So like 100 million people normally watch, a nice round number. If 5% of people, like households, did it, that would be 1 in 20, right? So if 1 in 20 people paid versus watch it for free, which might be realistic, might not be, but $200 a pop, a lot of money, that's $1 billion in revenue. That's a lot. Now, I don't know what they make now. I don't have, they might not publicize what they make in revenue exactly, because everyone gets a cut and then TV stations and a whole thing. But that's hard to argue. That's not a lot of revenue for one sporting event.
Exactly.
But of course, is 5% high or low? It could be more like 1%. It could be 10%. That would be a try it out, but that would, I don't know.
I mean, imagine if milk started being $50 a gallon. They make a lot more money that way. A lot of people like to have milk. It'd make them a lot of money, but that would really be really annoying for the consumer.
Do you know a fun fact about milk? We're the only animals in the world that drink another species' milk.
Yeah, that's
Why?
That's interesting.
You don't need to do it. It's actually, I think, a milk lobby thing, because it's not bad for you, but it's not by any means required, like as a child, to become a strong adult.
Right.
I like milk, especially chocolate milk.
But you're told it makes your bones stronger.
I had a feeling there was probably like a
good
lobby thing in there.
Good for your teeth.
So some dairy farmers. I want to say it might have been like World War II, like dairy farmers or something like that. I'm sure there was money involved. Speaking of money, so Jeff Bezos yesterday lost $14 billion. He's probably still going to be all right, but that was a lot of it. So the main thing of that is he owns about 11% of Amazon stock, which is not a lot by a well, it is a lot by a percentage-wise for a large company, and that's where most of his wealth is. So when stock dips up and down, that's what happens. So if Amazon shares go down, say something like 7%. Which happens in companies sometimes, then people that own 11% of a $1 trillion company, you lose money too.
So did he lose money that wasn't even in his bank account yet, essentially?
That's true, yeah. And that's the interesting thing about to draw a context to these people. There's no way to argue that if you had even $1 billion, you are tremendously wealthy.
Yes.
But this is not like dollars in a bank account. It's not like on your ATM card. People with that kind of net worth, 99% of the time, is in various kinds of investments. Typically, one of the only ways to ever become a billionaire is to found a company and then have that company go public. If you look at people that are billionaires, or have your parents do it and pass it down to you, like the Waltons. But pretty much founding a company, having it go public, are one of the only realistic ways to ever become an actual billionaire. It can happen other ways, but that's the most common way by far. So these people have billions of dollars in stock. And that's actually a whole fascinating discussion for me, is like taxes and how they actually get paid, because a lot of them don't get paid a lot of salary. It's all in stocks. And whenever you sell stocks, you get big capital gains or tax bills on that, between like 15-25% based on how long you've had it. But no, it's not like you go to your ATM and it's like you have $6 billion in here. Especially because one, it's not FDIC insured that high. And two, it's just not, they're not that liquid. But so it's money he had, but it was like, so it's not like paper money. Well, I guess it would be paper money or digital money, numbers on a screen, versus more like money in your pocket.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah, so his net worth took a hit from $207 billion to $196 billion. Still a pretty good take, but a lot of money. Hard to imagine that kind of money. There's certain amounts of money you can kind of imagine, and there's certain amounts of money you can't really grasp. Like you can kind of imagine being like a millionaire. Billionaire is a whole different thing, because if you wake up and put yourself in the mindset of, I can do literally whatever I want to do every single day. And that's not like an exaggeration. It's like,
Yeah.
I think I might go to Monte Carlo for today in the private jet. Like once you switch into that mindset,
Yeah.
it really is. It's hard to imagine living like that. Because even people that are wealthy think about their wealth.
Yeah.
But people like that level, it's just a whole. Like
Yeah.
I think it would be extremely strange. Like Mark Cuban one time said, because he sold a company to Yahoo, I think it was broadcast.com, like in the late 90s, good time before the value of an e-commerce stuff tanked. He said he went out and bought like $10,000 suits just because he could and never wore one of them.
Oh, God.
Just because like you don't even know what to do. Like I guess I have to buy expensive suits now, but I don't like suits. So like the Shark Tank never wears a tie.
Yeah.
It's just a strange life.
Yeah.
And speaking of big paydays, last 5 on today, Reese Witherspoon's company, which you might or might not have heard of, but you might have heard of some stuff it's been a part of. So she was one of the founding members of a company called Hello Sunshine, which just sold for over $900 million. And you might not have heard of it, like I said, but some things you might have heard of. I got this on the next page. Its projects, so it's pretty much like a media company, includes the films Gone Girl, which people have seen, Wild I have not heard of, as well as The Morning Show and Big Little Lies. Some shows, I think Morning Show was on Apple TV, I think Big Little Lies was on one of the other premium stations, and also Reese's Book Club, which I have not heard of, but it sounds like a book club.
Yeah.
So it was founded in 2016, became profitable only in 2020,
Wow.
and sold for $900 million.
That's impressive to me. The fact that it wasn't even started until 2016, didn't even start making money until last year. And now she sold it for 900 million?
900 million.
That's impressive. That's some business savvy.
And it doesn't say how much her share was. They tend to not 100%. You tend to have partners and things like this when you start things. So it doesn't specify exactly, and it could be private, what her share of that was, but I'm sure it's a hearty share of that.
Oh, I'm sure she's celebrating today.
So good for her.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's one of those things you look at, like actors and actresses, like early in their career, sometimes they have a various role here and there, and you wonder 5, 10, 20 years down the road what their skills really are. Because I think had you watch like Legally Blonde, whenever that came out, 99 maybe? Yeah. Whenever that came out, you think like 20 years later, 22 years later, would she have some company, a media company, that sold for that much? You probably would have thought that. Yeah. I think that way about like John Krasinski. I'm a big Office fan. If someone would have told me like when that started, he'd be like directing and writing movies and stuff. Yeah. 20, not that long. But later, I wouldn't have believed it either.
Yeah, a lot of that. You'd be surprised. A lot of people think like these celebrities or these actors or actresses are just rich solely off of making movies. That's not always the case. A lot of them are doing things behind the scenes that you don't know about, whether it's restaurants. Like Kevin James, he used to write comics, and he has like restaurants, and he has like, I'm pretty sure he has a comic book store. He has a bunch of places that he owns, and he's, I feel like that's smart. That's actually you taking your money and actually reinvesting it and putting it in other places to make even more money, because you got to think like a movie that was made in the 90s, is it realistic that someone can live off of that?
What do you make? Clerks, right?
Yeah, make Clerks. He's big for Clerks, and then
have you seen it? I've never seen it.
I did. It's a classic. It's funny.
Is it?
It's funny. Yes. Not. He's just really smart, and you're gonna find out a lot of celebrities have a side hustle. Whether it's they actually have their own production studio, like The Rock, I think he has like
7 Buck Productions.
7 Buck Productions and stuff like that. So I feel like it's really smart just to reinvest the money and put it into elsewhere, because it's to us like $1 million seems like a lot of money, but to them it's not. It's just a different lifestyle. So they think of ways to just expand. And
I think it's interesting lesson too. A lot of times, like actors and stuff, you realize that might not be their actual best skill set. For example, one person, this is an older version, but you heard of Gene Autry, right? He Here Comes Santa Claus, You Hear Every Christmas, right? Singing Cowboy, and those kind of movies 50, 60 years ago. But he was, by his own words, not a very good singer, not a very good actor, but really good with money. Like he was one of the founders or like the original owners of the LA Angels. and made a ton of money with that. Real estate developments, and like he's on the record saying like, I was never very good at singing and acting, but I was really good at making money.
Wow.
And especially when you're kind of famous, then you can leverage your name and your image into useful things, because you never know, you could be at someone's restaurant and so-and-so just stops by that day going for selfies at tables.
It always seems like when someone is highly talented in one area, they seem to be also talented in other areas. Like it always seems like that. It always seems like athletes feel that athletes they can play almost any sport that they really want, you know, or even actors. But there's also like a thing of like intelligence. Like they just seem to be like just smarter people, probably because they surround themselves with very smart people. Yeah, but you know, though, you always see in the movies though, where there's like a rich guy who always gets approached by either a friend, a family member, or a stranger about investing in a business idea.
Yeah,
I bet that happens in real life. If you're a millionaire, I bet you get approached every day.
If you're a well-known rich person, you have to have your guard up, because they say you get used to saying no, because people always have the next best idea. And it's not just an idea, it's like people, because there's commissions on investments. So say, not even just that, but say you're a broker at like an investment company, just doing regular stocks or something like that. If you can get like Bill Gates to be your client, you have huge commissions at stake. So it's not even crazy off the wall stuff, it's just trying to switch that. And people have said, like Mark, you've been doing he's more public about the rich lifestyle. So like you have to get used to saying no, because people ask you every day for things, just all the time, regular life.
Yeah, and you know who also used to has his hand on is talented in so many areas, is Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, he went from game show host to UFC commentator. I'm pretty sure
he still does that.
I'm pretty sure, he does that. I'm pretty sure he used to practice MMA. I could be wrong.
I think he's active in that. Like I don't know competitively how much he is in that, but he's like into it.
Yeah, he's like the top podcaster in the world right now. There's no doubt about that. And he was a comedian.
Yeah.
You know,
ruined Carlos Mencia.
Yeah, and being a comedian is not easy. I mean, sit down and come up with 20 minutes of original material. To make people laugh, just original. Come up with 20 minutes. I bet that's going to be one of the hardest challenges you'll ever have.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like I think people think about like talents and skills in like a too narrow of a vein sometimes, or like a pro athlete. It might not be so much like they're incredible at football, but they're incredibly athletic. Yeah. Because like you said, and I've heard before, they say lots of people could have probably gone pro in more than one sport. Yeah. Which to me, as non-athletic, is mind-blowing that anybody could even go pro in one sport, let alone have an option for more than one sport. And some people have, right? Wasn't somebody, Deion Sanders, or somebody played like baseball and football professionally? Just insane to me that someone could be good enough, but that's like athletically
he was
talented.
The first player to ever to hit a home run and score a touchdown in the same day.
In the same day? That's a busy day.
Yeah. So that just goes to show, like, and you could say that a lot about athletes. Like, if they wanted, now there's been rules now that they're not allowed to play multiple sports. They got to pick one. Sometimes they can, but like you always hear about, like they make athletes have to choose one or the other. I'm pretty sure, like Kyle Murray, the quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. He was really good at baseball. He was drafted by the Oakland Athletics and was given a lot of money, but he chose to be the starting quarterback of an NFL team instead. Can't really say blame the guy. Yeah, blame the guy or whatever, but the fact that he had to choose one or the other, you know. But if they had that option, I'm pretty sure so many athletes would be in multiple sports.
Athletically gifted, yeah. It's probably like creative, which is probably like a lot of actors and musicians, like just creatively gifted, like probably like money gifted, like book smart gifted, athletically gifted, all these different areas that I think are broader and tend to be good. Like people that are book smart in a lot of things.
Yeah.
They're good at like reading and remembering facts. That's a valuable skill too.
And celebrities just tend to be naturally good at just promotion, self-promotion, or promoting anything. Like if they have a business, they're really good at just promoting the heck out of it on Instagram. If they have any kind of a side hustle, they let you know about it.
They let you know about it.
They let you know about it. Yeah.
All right, recapping. Today's the 5 for August 3rd. 70% of the U.S. vaccinated, making strides, increases in the vaccination rates, which is good. Tyson Foods, one of the latest companies to require vaccines for all U.S. workers. The idea of Super Bowl pay-per-view. Jeff Bezos lost a mere $14 billion, but is still super wealthy. And Reese Witherspoon's big payday, $900 million company sold, profitable for the first time just in 2020. That might set an interesting precedent as time goes by, because a lot of celebrities got their production companies.
She's richly blonde. Is that a legally blonde?
Richly.